Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Duncan, intuitive medium and host of Behind the Scenes with Rescue Mediums. For anyone unfamiliar, Rescue Mediums was a hit TV series that was filmed from 2006 to 2011 and can still be seen in many countries around the world on YouTube and on veryparanormal.com. Mediums would visit people's homes that were disturbed by spirits and rescue them into the light. Today, we're joined by 4 people who made this groundbreaking series happen. Please help me welcome Edna Dargy, Director of Research, Michael Lamport, producer, narrator, writer, and sometimes he was in them too. Jackie Dennison, rescue medium, international medium and psychic artist, and Allison Wynn Ryder, rescue medium, international quirky medium, and author of the 2012 book, The Quirky Medium, The Extraordinary Life of an Unlikely Clairvoyant. Welcome, everybody.
Hi, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy.
And thanks, everybody, for your questions. We've all agreed these are terrific, and if it's okay with everybody in the heat, as it is here today, we will just hop right in. How's that? Okay. Our first question is from Maria. How can you separate your imagination from what is really going on in the spirit realm?
That's a hard one, isn't it, Alison? Because it's one of the hardest things that anyone can learn, the difference between imagination and communication. It's going with that gut feeling, isn't it, Al? You know, just what the knowing tells you, you know. I ask spirit for proof as well, to give me something else so that I know that what I'm receiving is information from spirit and not my imagination. Because it's so hard, isn't it, to separate the two?
Yeah, and also because that's something I get asked a lot, and my answer to that, I mean, obviously you've answered that perfectly, because it is all about, it's claircognizance, that knowing and that gut feeling. But I always say to them, okay, so what's just happened in the meditation, what you were given, is that likely to be something that you're going to make up in your head? And well, 99% of the time it's not. So that's because spirit always give us, don't they, things that are so different and unique that people, when they think of it like that, no, I would never make that up. So that's how I always sort of say, that's how you differentiate, as well as obviously, because it is all about how you feel as well, definitely. But it's a really good question, isn't it?
It is a good question. Sandy, you're an intuitive medium yourself, so how would you answer that question?
I would answer with the way I usually answer, which is, could you make that up? Have you made that up before? Is this something that you think of a lot, or is this extraordinary to you?
Yes.
And I mean, I know even with myself, if it's something so extraordinary, there's no way I could have thought that up.
Yeah.
And to me, that helps with the validation.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not that clever. I know I can't come up with all that stuff. So it's not
I always like to ask them to validate, if they can validate, you know, spirit can validate it by giving me something else that either if it's in a reading that the client would say, oh yeah, I understand what you're talking about now. That makes perfect sense. It links in with this or with that. Or like, as you say in a meditation, Alison, whether it's that something that you are just thinking about, or is it given to you from spirit? Would you just make it up?
Exactly.
Danny said exactly the same thing. When you're working with spirit rescue work, it's different because you're working blindly, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
So then we need Edna to validate everything, don't we, Edna?
Yes.
Try.
Okay, next question is from Lenora. Is there a reason homeowners are in their stocking feet in the pre-interview part of the show? I love you both and watch the show almost every day. You feel like old mates of mine, and I'd love to invite you over for a cuppa someday.
Oh.
So nice. Edna, I think you better answer this question because you introduced us to house shoes.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure of other parts of Canada, but certainly in Ontario, we tend to take our shoes off when we go into someone's house, and it's a courtesy, because your shoes have been outside and trekking in all kinds of stuff, as well as our weather here is so varied. It's important to take your shoes off. As well, I think for the show, that for the sound, our sound people do not want to hear clicking shoes on the floor, and you want to be able, for you guys, you want to be able to hear anything from spirit as well, and not have it be confused with the sound of footsteps or shoes of someone else.
Yeah, it's a good grounding skill though as well, isn't it, Alison?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're a Reiki master, and you take your shoes off, don't you, when you work in
I do,
yeah.
but it's sort of here. I do when I'm sitting down here, but I got caught short with that the year we moved over here, because there's no carpet or rugs here because obviously it's so hot. And I slipped on wet tiles. I'd only gone out to water some plants, must have spilt some water on the tiles in the house, and I just went like that and tore the tendon in my foot, and I was in agony. And I'm one that I've always walked around in bare feet. I work in bare feet, as you know.
Yeah.
So that sort of I mean, that really hurt, and it's sort of quite a commonplace thing here. But obviously in, you know, most of the houses that we went to in Canada were carpeted or rugs or whatever, and nobody wants muck dragging in all over their carpets and everything. And then, of course, like Edna said as well, our sound guy, you know, you can't have clippity clop all over everywhere, you know, and for us as well, because very often we've thought before, you know, when we've heard people go walking up the stairs, and we think, oh, who's walking up the stairs, because it's so clear, and you think that it's like an earthbound person, and it's not, it's spirit. So, and you know, but if people, as in the crew or anyone, or a homeowner's walking up and down, like, we'd hear it. Although the homeowners aren't there anyway when we do the spirit rescues. But yeah, it's that's a good question as well.
It is interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's great. I'm just going to skip ahead here a little bit. A question for everybody. In doing a new series of rescue mediums, is there anything that you would do differently? Either the production end, Michael and Edna, or Jackie and Allison?
Well, I think Michael.
Well, I mean, okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think we do anything differently. Because I think we have a formula. I know that sounds really, I guess, but I think we have a formula that works and that the audience enjoys. And I personally don't think that we would do anything differently in regards to making the show. Now, maybe in regards to where Jackie and Allison go, maybe that could be different. You know, I mean, Edna has a whole bunch of other haunted places that, you know, maybe a better well known than somebody's, you know, like a #1 Main Street, you know, whatever. But that's the only thing that I personally, as a producer, would change.
That's great. Edna, would you change anything?
I would ask for more time, more time between the episodes.
Yeah,
that would be my one wish. Otherwise, I think, as Michael said, the formula works really, really well. Part of our formula, though, has been to go to places that are not famous or cannot be found on the internet, because I guess it added to the authenticity that we know that our mediums couldn't go and, you know, do a little Google search and find out what the stories were about it ahead of time, or when they first found out when they arrived there. before the rescue. So that's one thing that I think I would rather keep it to non-famous for that reason, although famous could be very interesting too.
Yeah.
Maybe the famous type stuff that could come in a, you know, like a different type of episode. It's sort of like the rescue mediums investigate very famous places. It's a whole different thing. So I do agree with that now. I rarely disagree with Edna because she knows what she's talking about.
But location would still be kept a secret from us, though.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, one of the funniest things that I recall from doing the show is picking the mediums up at the airport, and then I think it was Jackie that said to me, how long is it going to take us to get where we're going? And I didn't want to say anything like that because that will give a clue. And the reason that she asked is because I really got to have a pee. if it's longer than 2 hours.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they never know anything about where they're going. It's a mystery, which I think adds something to the show.
It does.
When you have no idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Jackie, would you change anything?
2 glasses of wine at the end.
Instead of one.
Do you know what? I wouldn't change a thing because I think it is a formula that works. It works well. I've always liked validation with spirit, where I know Allison works in exactly the same way. So this show was put together in such a way that things could be validated. You know, so Michael once said, do you know, I could stand up in a court of law and swear on the Holy Bible and say that the rescue mediums know nothing about where they're going. They're not told anything prior to that journey. And that's exactly as it is. And that's why I think it's so authentic. So I just love it. I love working with it. I love working with Allison. I love working with everybody else, with Michael and Edna and all of the crew. You know, I think we've got a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Allison, any changes?
I wouldn't change anything, no. And it works because it's the authenticity of the show, like everybody said, but also it's so unique and quirky. There's no show like it, and that's what I love about it. And I love the fact that Jackie and I have no idea where we're going, and I also love the artwork and the premonitions. And like you said before, the mystery of the whole thing just adds to the package of the show. Just love it. I wouldn't change a thing, no.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you, Alison. The thing is that you're right. It does set the show, in my opinion, apart from other shows.
There's
Not to put down any other show.
no.
But I guess our show, it is structured in a way, but also it's so spontaneous. Like when you guys go around a house, our camera crew, they basically just follow you. You know, it's like, it's not like, oh, okay, wait a minute, let's do that again.
Yeah.
And we discussed that because you can't do that. You know, what do we say to Spirit? Okay, Spirit, hang on a minute. Okay, can you go up the stairs again? Because Spirit would look at us and just go like, no, I'm not doing that.
You gotta love it.
The show is real.
It is, yeah, it's great. Do you know what else I love as well? And it's just all brought it home to me, is when we're walking around the property, sometimes both of us are on a roll As in, one will say a joke and then another one will say a joke. And none of this is scripted. We're just being ourselves. And that, I mean, I can only speak for myself personally, but I'm sure Jackie would agree that we are ourselves. We're not acting. We're dealing with everything in the moment. And, you know, if we come out with a funny face, and sometimes we swear. We try not to swear much, but occasionally we do, and it comes out, and they catch it in. Because we're real. It's real, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it is. It is real. I mean, we have so much fun, but we take our work seriously, but we do have a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
You know, what you see is what you get with both.
Yeah.
So that's the reality of who we are, you know.
Yeah, it is.
It speaks volumes that you're still getting thousands and thousands of views, you know, all these years later. I think the show could have been called Integrity, but, you know. Okay, moving on. From Sue, love the show. It's put together so well. How did Jackie and Allison link so that they see the same thing?
I don't feel, well, we don't see the same thing, do we? But I know exactly what she means, as in we do link. So say if it's to do with the spirit rescue itself, and I see spirit or I hear what they're saying, if they're with me, then I'm relaying this to Jackie, or I'm with the spirit and she can hear what the spirit is actually saying. But we don't exactly see exactly the same thing, because obviously we're two different people, but the link is there. But it's also there when we do our premonitions separately, in that I get really excited when we look at each other's drawings, and you know when at the beginning where we're wearing our own clothes and the cameras are on us and we're sharing with each other for the first time what we've got. It never fails to make me excited about how we do link in, where, you know, even though we're doing the premonitions completely separately,
Yeah.
we link in, because obviously our spirit guides are with us, and they're helping us along the way. And obviously, you know, they're helping us sort of with the whole thing, as Edna's spirit team are with her and Michael's spirit team are with him and the crews and so on. But yeah, I mean, that's how I'd explain it. I don't feel that we see the same thing, do we?
No, we don't see exactly the same thing, but we can link into the same moment, can't we?
Yeah.
And I think what is so brilliant at times is that one of us may link into the person who's being rescued, the other person may link into the person in spirit who's helping to rescue.
Yeah.
So, you know, so the link is there, just bringing them in together. Sometimes we can even make a description. So maybe I could see a lady in a long dress, and then Alison may say, oh, I can see that is there blue on the dress? I can see blue. I'm seeing the colour blue. And so we do link in that way, rather than seeing exactly the same sort of photographic image of everything. And the same with feelings. We link in with feelings with that, don't we, as well?
Absolutely.
You know, you go into a room and all of a sudden you say, oh my gosh, it feels so heavy in here.
Yeah.
Because the energy feels heavy. You walk in and it's almost like there's a mist there that you're walking into that's quite a heavy sort of vibrational feel. And we'll both feel it. We'll both link in exactly at the same time with that.
Yeah, I think with the feelings, we sort of, although we're linking in when we're describing who we're with, so we're not exactly seeing exactly the same, but it's exactly as Jackie's described. But feeling, if we walk into a room, we do generally feel the same thing. And we've said it at the same time as well, so we know that we're both feeling and sensing the same thing. Yeah. But that's a really good question, actually, because we link in so strongly. And if we didn't, it wouldn't work, would it? So, you know, that's... but, you know, when I started on the show, I hadn't got a clue what was going on. And yeah, it was an eye-opener for me, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you learn as you go along. You know, obviously you get more confident as you go along. But yeah, that's a really good one about linking in, because we do.
Great, thank you. Next over to Courtney. Since you sometimes go through the passing with the spirits, is there anything you can tell us for certain about what happens when people die, where they go, and what's on the other side?
Wow.
We're both going, because of course everyone knows absolutely 100% until you've actually gone over. So we can only recount our experiences of what it feels like when we're helping spirit to go through. And the only way that I can describe it is a feeling of so much love. It's so intense, it's so beautiful. And I can say that in my mind's eye, I have seen the most beautiful gardens there with flowers that you could not describe, with the colours that you cannot describe. You know, and people say, oh, I hear angelic music, or, you know, that's the voice of an angel, you know, and you can actually hear music that you have never heard before. It's totally amazing, really. That's how I feel when I connect with spirit, is the love that comes from them and comes from where they are when you're helping them over. And sometimes you get the feeling of the spirit helpers as well, you know, the gratitude that they're panic at times as well.
Yeah.
Come through quick and then let's shut that doorway. But to me it's a feeling of intense love that you have to experience it to feel it, to know it, I think.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, Michael, I believe this one is for you. This is still from Courtney. Will fans ever be able to see any deleted footage of storylines that didn't make it into the episode? It would be so cool to revisit each episode where Jackie and Allison and the crew tell stories and the moments that didn't make it into the show.
I think that is a great question, and it's a question that has been stewing in my mind as well, because I think that would be great, because just like as a regular human being, when I see other shows, not necessarily psychic shows, and find out, like, oh, you know, what's the deleted footage, or what didn't make it in somewhere, or blah blah blah, that I find it fascinating. So yes, it would be amazing to do that, because we still have all the footage. It's all digitalized. Is that a word? Yeah. And so yeah, we could get to it. And I think that's a great question, and it's something that I would like to try to pursue and see if we can actually put some stuff together like that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm just looking here. Okay. I think Allison and Jackie could help Mel out here. The other side is a mystery to all of us. My friend just passed, and being in the USA, I had no chance to see her or speak with her. I wish you could contact her for me. Maybe you could give her some tips on that.
Oh, well, first of all, I'm so sorry to hear about your friend. It's never easy when we lose a loved one. I mean, the way that you could connect with her is through a medium, because obviously that's what we do. We connect with your loved ones in the spirit world. Both Jackie and I do one-to-one readings and Skype, and I think you do Zoom as well, don't you, Jackie? I'm not very IT literate, so I don't do the Zoom thing, but I do Skype. And I always think, when somebody comes to me for a reading or a Skype reading, and you're given so much love and confirmation from their loved one in the spirit world that we pass on, I sort of sit there and I think that's why I do what I do, when you see how much comfort it's brought to that person. So that's the way. I mean, obviously, if you're talking about wanting to connect personally with your loved one and you're interested in spiritual development, then you could go down that route. So that you learn how to ground, put psychic protection around yourself, meditate, you know, under the guidance of a reputable tutor, of course. About you, Jackie, is there anything?
Oh, no, I think you just answered that question perfectly, Alison.
Okay. Thank you.
To Leslie now. During the first few seasons, why are you two dressed alike? It's just been one of those things that struck me as funny when I watched the episodes.
Well, you know, when we very first started, when Christine and I were working together in the very early episodes, we did dress like we'd both have scarves, we'd both have you know, the similar clothes. In fact, on occasion we've worn exactly the same clothes. That was our decision. That was Christine and I. That was our decision because we wanted to be different. We wanted, because we connected in together, we worked together spiritually. We wanted to be recognised for, you know, oh, you know, those ladies who always dress the same, you know, something to make us stand out. I mean, we didn't need to do that really because the show carried it anyway. The show has just carried it. But also, it's just to indicate how in tune we are with each other. So it's sort of evolved from that. So Alison and I do dress in complementary colours.
Yeah.
And sometimes we will wear the same things. I recall we have the same pink tops.
Yeah, I think that's it. And then we've had the same tops in different colours as well, though, haven't we? But I do remember those pink tops specifically because we both loved them and we both wanted them.
Well, I'm sorry, but like one of the things, for example, when you're filming it, is that, I mean, I agree with both Jackie and Allison that the pink tops are fun, but if we go into a house and the house has pink walls, you can't wear the pink tops.
No.
Because,
No.
you know, because it doesn't blend in or something. So, but it is very funny to see that, because when we film, we do look at what you're going to be wearing, and DOP, director of photography, will go like, nah, I don't know, that's not going to work here, or whatever. So there is some film practicality to it as well.
Well, we ask Edna, don't we, Edna? What, you know, should we avoid this colour or should we avoid that pattern in the house? So she never gives away any clues. She'll say, "Oh no, that's good. That's very good." And she never gives any clues as to what the house is like inside. I think you explain things very well to us, Edna, when we're talking about clothes.
She does.
Yes, well, I always did my best not to give away any clues about anything. That was fun for me.
Yeah. We could tell, couldn't we?
Michael, there's a question from Tiana. I hope I'm saying that right, Tiana. And she's mentioning a famous place, perhaps to be investigated in the future, just like you were talking about a few minutes ago. And she's talking about California State University Channel Islands and how that's a particularly spooky place for her. If people know of famous places that could be explored, can they get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. They can email me at through Rescue Mediums or through Very Paranormal.
Great.
And around North America that have these, you know, like sort of haunted tunnels or haunted bell towers, or so many different things like that. And I think that would be a very interesting sideline for the show. Like, you know, sort of like, you know, I don't know what, I hate this word, redux, but everybody in the industry calls it that, like Rescue Mediums Redux. I don't even know what that means. But yeah, so I think that's a great question. And well, if people want to get in touch with any of us, you can get in touch with us through the Rescue Mediums website or through veryparanormal.com. and we'll definitely look at what you are proposing, and you know, we'll take it under consideration. I mean, you see, we're not the arbiters of what actually goes on the screen. A lot of it is up to the broadcaster, and but as the producer, any input from anybody out there would be very, very welcome.
That's great. That's fantastic. Thank you. From Tara, I wonder if you are ever up against something so strong to defeat. Have you ever had to call clergy for help?
I haven't. We haven't on the show, have we? Well, not in the ones that we've done together.
No, I'm wondering whether Tara means, have we called clergy in physically, or have we called them in?
Oh,
Shall
I thought she meant physically, but actually
Yeah.
you're right. She might mean sort of spirit, because we have done
We
spiritually
have.
to help. We have. I remember. Yeah.
Because if somebody was very religiously minded before they went over to spirit, they would respond to someone who is of the same denomination that would, you know, help them over. So we have on a number of occasions worked with ministers, with priests, with various religious, like with the nuns. We've had nuns that have come to help. All spirit guides, of course, who are willing to help with any situation. But in the physical sense, I personally, outside of rescue mediums, have never, not that I wouldn't, but I haven't had to ask anybody religious to come in to help with anything. But that doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't if I felt the need.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I have Nemu now, and it's a question about working with your spirit guides. Working with your spirit guides, how do you show thanks and let them know that you've heard them?
Just by saying that, basically. I mean, I know for me, during the spirit rescue, she means, or does she mean working as a medium in general?
It says when you connect with your spirit guides.
Yeah, so all the time then. I do my grounding and my psychic protection first, and then I do a meditation where I'm connecting with them, and I'm asking them to give me information so say if it's a one-to-one reading, I'm asking them to give me information for the person that I'm reading for. And I always ask for something so unique that they would know for definite that it's something that I wouldn't know. But I thank them constantly, all the time. And I think with everything that we do, in the work that we do, it's all about loving intent. And, you know, with experience, you connect in a stronger, more powerful way with your spirit guides through that experience. So I feel blessed every day that I have a wonderful spirit team. And like I say, I thank them all the time. If it's, say if I'm doing a workshop and I'm working with spirit that way and I've got people here, then we will do an opening prayer and thank our respective spirit guides and angels. And we have a closing prayer to sort of close that off. So it depends in which way you're working, I suppose, but I thank them all the time.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Couldn't.
Well, that's a very good point. No, but I mean, for people that are watching this, and I know because you've told me, Jackie, but how does like a regular person who isn't a medium or anything like that, how do they sort of get in touch with their spirit guide? What would be a methodology of, I don't know, like a regular person walking down the street and go like, oh, I want to get in touch with my spirit guide. Like, we all have them. I believe that implicitly. But how do we actually speak to them?
You know, meditation is the key to any spiritual development. And that, you know, the grounding that Alison was talking talking about sort of doing a grounding technique and then putting yourself in a bubble of light of protection or whatever, and then just connecting with them, asking them to draw near. I mean, I teach my students to ground, protect, and then open all of your chakras. That doesn't mean to say that you can't still connect if you don't open your chakras. It just means that the intent is there and you are preparing to be as open as possible on every vibration to accept information that comes to you. One of the main things that I say, or one of the first things I say to students, is seeing isn't always with the eyes and hearing isn't always with the ears. You know, you've got to, it's in the mind's eye, or is it your voice? You're hearing your own voice, which is quite odd. You hear your own voice, but they're not your words. You know, there's somebody else's words. So it's a case of just allowing the information just to flow through, so you can ask your spirit guide to connect with you, maybe in a beautiful garden. You know, you sit in a beautiful garden, or you go for a walk through the woods, or you can imagine that you're sitting in your favourite armchair, and that in your mind's eye there's a door that is created that you are going to ask them to open it, and your spirit guide to come in with love and light and to join you in a place where you're comfortable. And just take all those feelings that come forward, whether it's a lovely energy feel, like a lovely warm glow, or is it a certain smell? Maybe you can smell like beautiful lilies or roses, or it could just be, you could actually physically see here, you could see a shape, a mist. I see shapes. That's how I connect when I'm working. I work with a vibration. So sometimes I might see like a beautiful purple or a beautiful blue colour mist. I'm still connecting to spirit guides. I'm just connecting to their energy. So, but I think, you know, spirit development, if you find a group, a circle to join, that is the key. Meditation actually is the best way to make that connection in the first place.
Yeah, and you know, just to have patience.
Sorry, Alison, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and to have patience. You know, it all takes time. So, you know, don't give up at the first hurdle. Carry on with it. And exactly as Jackie said, obviously. Sorry, Michael.
No, I was only going to just say that that's great advice for people. And through the meditation process, people should just also be open. Like, don't close yourself in. Like, just be open to anything that happens. I mean, I know one of the interesting things that Jackie has told over the years, I think both Edna and I, is the spirit signs. Like, you know, you go to a street and it's called blah blah blah, and then you look at something else and it's got the same name, and you go like, no, follow that, because that spirit sort of saying to you, no, you keep going. And I if everybody was in mind to that, I think it's a wonderful thing once you experience it.
Yeah, synchronicity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Edna, can I ask you a question? Talking about synchronicity, would you find, do you find that when you are doing the research, after we've done our rescue, and you're trying to pull it together, do you find that you've got synchronicity happening then? So events that sort of just fall into place, or something that you've had a hunch on when prior is now coming together, and it's like the jigsaw all fitting together. Would you say that you find that quite a lot?
Yes, and I think that's why it comes together so fast in the limited amount of time, from the time of the rescue to the reveal. with the homeowners is, what is it? It's 36 hours perhaps later. So yeah, there has to be something happening there that I can just, it just falls into place.
Yeah, amazing. You do an amazing job. We certainly couldn't do it without you. Absolutely. We'd go on to Allison.
Yes, yes, you're not going anywhere.
Well, and no, that's very true, Jackie. And I mean, no, not to be really bad to Spirit, but you know, as a production, we don't really have to pay Spirit, and so you know, when they help us, it's like free help.
Well, I think we should do a cheers to Spirit right now, and I think we should thank them with our cheers. So our viewers know that we are thanking Spirit for allowing us to work with them and for allowing us to put this together and to chat. What do you think?
Yeah, totally
I
agree.
think that's a great idea.
Okay, so from me, here's a cheers.
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 Cheers. Thank you,
you.
Spirit. Cheers.
Thanks to Spirit, and thanks to everybody who wrote in.
Okay, thank you, Sandy. Thank you for putting all this together.
Yeah, thank
everybody.
you.
Yep. Thanks, Sandy.
Thanks,
We'll
everyone.
see you guys next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.